Oh, what's up, everybody? My God, I can't even get myself composed, man. I can't, I can't even compose myself to start this show, man. Yo, what's happening, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to, I didn't put it in the title this time, but I've been calling these shows the special editions, the Terrible Towel special editions, if you will, even though it's on Thursday. You know, I've been doing quite a few of these this week. I've been having fun doing these quick hits, man, in and out. And I could not let this pass. Y'all know I had to come and talk about this very subject. You see it in the title. The Steelers may not have a quarterback, but they have a reindeer. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, guys. How's everybody doing, man? Hope everybody is well. Let me check some of the sites here and make sure there isn't any other news. Let's see. I got to go watch the rest of Metcalf's DK Metcalf's press conference, if you will. Let me see. Is there anything else that I missed before we dive into it, man? Let's see. Nothing else really to report. A couple things I want to ask you guys before we get into the main meat and potatoes, really quick. How do you guys feel about the Kenneth Gainwell signing, the pickup? How do you guys feel about us signing Kenneth Gainwell? I don't know. I know we talked about that, I think maybe yesterday or the day before, but I don't remember everyone's reaction. So if y'all could give me some quick reactions to that, man. Also, how do you guys feel about they're saying that free agent Kyle Juszczyk is meeting with the Steelers on Thursday? That one is interesting to me. That's an interesting meeting to me. I'd be very curious to know what plans we would have for a traditional fullback, right? And how Arthur Smith would plan to use him. Juszczyk is not the Juszczyk of old, but it kind of makes me wonder what is going on in that regard, because again, we know that Arthur Smith likes to run the football, and having a traditional fullback makes me wonder, are we going to see more I formation, more H-back type of stuff, and you let Juszczyk do it? Juszczyk has caught the football out of the backfield. You guys remember the immaculate extension with AB. I remember that game, man, on Christmas, and Juszczyk scored late in that game when he was with the Ravens, and I was pissed. If you like me, you were pissed when that happened, thinking, oh, man, this could be it. And then Big Ben and AB did what they had to do. I don't believe somebody said Cam Hayward cut. No, I haven't heard anything about Cam Hayward. Maybe you're referring to Connor, and I don't think he's been cut either. But yeah, how do you guys feel about the Gainwell pickup? And then right after you guys give me your thoughts on that, I'm gonna dive right into the main topic for the night. Like I said, I'm gonna be here in and out. Let's see. Some of you guys are saying Kev So Fun says it's decent. Why Diggy says I don't hate it. What else y'all saying? Renegade Dre said he's depth. They're still the draft. Yeah, I'm sure the Steelers are going to draft a running back. In fact, they had that kid in today from, I think, Tennessee, was it? I think it was the Tennessee kid that they had in today. Hold on, let me check my notations here. I can tell y'all right away. And there was a pro day visit, I think, with the Clemson kid. Yeah, they had Dylan Sampson. Steelers are going to host Dylan Sampson. He's from Tennessee. And I hear my brother Kenya says that boy has some wheels on him. So we'll see. Anything else? Anybody else? Anybody else got any comments on Gainwell? Mark Cunningham says Gainwell always plays well, and he's when he's in there. Upgrade over Patterson. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. Listen, if Kenneth Gainwell, is able to get some burn with us. I mean, I don't know how the running back depth is going to look. Of course, Jalen Warren, but I don't know. I assume they're going to draft somebody, and it all depends on the rotation. But I'm not mad at Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell also returns kicks. So to me, when we signed him, and I realized, yeah, he does have a nice, solid kick return average as well. That let me know right there that Patterson is probably gone. They're not going to bring him back or what have you. I don't remember the contract for Patterson, but either way, I don't think he's going to be back if his contract expired, or that they will keep him on the roster. So I think that's where Kenneth Gainwell is going to give you, some decent bang for your buck, if you will. Let's see what else y'all got. That's it. Steelers also hosted Giddings from Kansas State. Okay. I like that kid. Let's get to it, guys. Let's get to what you all are here for. As the title says, the Pittsburgh Steelers may not have a quarterback, but they have a reindeer. Yes. In case you guys are unaware of it. Some of you say that I'm your Steelers source. I appreciate that. I'm not the greatest source. I'm just a guy that reads the articles like everybody else and jump on here, cut a camera on and start talking about them. The average Joe, if you will. But if you haven't heard, and I am your main source, Mason Rudolph has been and will be signing to the Pittsburgh Steelers again. It's reported that it's a 2-year, $8 million contract. Mason Rudolph has signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That sounds funny, doesn't it? Quite comical, isn't it? The red-nosed reindeer is back in Pittsburgh. Now, here's what's interesting, man. If you've been paying attention, Rudolph is 29 years of age. He'll be turning 30 here in July. Not old, but older. I would expect that, this is just my guess. This sounds like to me that, they're signing him in an emergency, break glass in case of emergency situation. I don't think this is any sign of him being the starter. I don't think that. However, if I'm Mason Rudolph, man, let me just give him some compassion for a moment. It's got to be tough if you're Mason Rudolph. You have not been a starter, like a legit starter. And I'm not talking about starting games. I'm talking about being the guy your entire career, unfortunately. You've managed to make some money. Handshake to you. I don't remember what his contracts were with Pittsburgh, but I would assume with this contract that he has now coming back to Pittsburgh, along with what he had before, when we did an extension with him, along with what he may have gotten in Tennessee, this guy has made over $10 million. I'm going to say it just like this. That's not bad, right? For an average person walking the earth, that's not bad to have made $10+ million, whether you are a legit true starter or not. He's done good for himself, right? But I do feel bad for him, man, because again, when he got drafted, where he got drafted, Ben Roethlisberger was no help to him. They didn't have a great relationship. Mason Rudolph said as much when Ben finally retired. He thinks he's going to get an opportunity, and the Pittsburgh Steelers decide not only to not give him the opportunity, but they draft Kenny Pickett, they bring in Mitchell Trubisky, and he's just never had the opportunity to be the guy. I saw an interesting stat earlier today where they said Mason Rudolph, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't remember. But I think they said that Mason Rudolph was the last quarterback to lead a opening drive for a touchdown, or maybe it was an opening passing touchdown. Because I want to say one of those games last year that we did score on the first possession with Russell Wilson. Maybe I'm wrong, but whatever the case may be, whether he's the last one to do it with a pass or the last one to do it on a first possession, that's still bad, right? But that's funny that it was him. Mason Rudolph got on a little bit of a run that season, right? Last 4 games or so, played well, went into the playoffs. We didn't do that great in the playoffs, we as a collective against Buffalo. But, the last time we saw Mason Rudolph, if we're being honest, he didn't play the worst. Now, again, Mason Rudolph is nobody's franchise quarterback, in my opinion. Is he serviceable? I think he can be. He has warts, but I think Mason Rudolph could do enough to get the job done per se, right? But like I said, guys, I think what this is all about, I think he's just the backup quarterback. Now, here's what I want to dissect for you guys. I have a couple things to say, then we can get out of here. This could mean one or two things. This could mean that the Pittsburgh Steelers have absolutely no plan to draft the quarterback in 2025 in the draft, unless they're not, sold on, what's his name, Skylar Thompson as a number 3. Perhaps you could still draft the quarterback later on in the draft and let the chips fall where they may. So it could either mean that, and their plan is to still bring in Aaron Rodgers, right? So it could be that they want a legit backup quarterback that they're familiar with and to play behind Aaron Rodgers, and maybe they're going to just go into camp with Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and then they'll get a UDFA as another arm. Or it could mean this, and I told this to Kenyon and Tony earlier today. It could mean that the Pittsburgh Steelers have every plan to possibly draft a quarterback in 2025, this season. It's possible now. I don't know which way they're going to go. I'm not saying which way they should go. I'm just saying the way I look at this signing of Mason Rudolph is like, is this a guy that's going to be backing up Aaron Rodgers? Or is this a security blanket in case one of these young quarterbacks you take a shot at doesn't pan out? You have a serviceable, decent year with Mason Rudolph, with weapons for Mason Rudolph, and then you plan to go into the draft in 2026. It could mean any one of those things, right? But here's what I want to say to you guys as well. This is my last point. Well, 2 more points. For one, for the last 2 days, you've heard me talk about Aaron Rodgers. You've heard Kenyon and I talk about Aaron Rodgers on Tuesday. You heard me also come back and talk about Aaron Rodgers last night. And the opinion of me is that I still would prefer not to have Aaron Rodgers. However, I do understand if the plan were to go the way that my good brother Kenyon laid it out, if the Steelers are planning to get by this season and they're looking solely at 2026, then I'm not opposed to hearing the thought of, well, you bring in a guy like Rodgers while you have DK, along with George Pickens, along with Freiermuth, along with Washington, and you try to get the best that you can out of those guys with a proven guy, knowing that he's not going to be the long-term QB, obviously not anyway at 41. I'll listen to that, and if it happens, it happens. But again, I told you guys, even with the compelling argument, my preference would be I do not want Aaron Rodgers. Not that I don't think Aaron Rodgers can play. I'm not even going to put the age and all that against him, even though that is my biggest issue with it, is I'm just tired of the old stopgaps. But my biggest concern would be the money. Yeah, we got a nice chunk of cap, but I don't want this organization to pay none of these veteran quarterbacks that's still out there $30 million or more for a season. No, I don't. I'm sorry. Call me conservative, but I don't want to do that. And I'm the same guy who told y'all a couple nights ago, I understand the market. I understand the market. The market dictates how you get paid, but because I understand the market, I don't want to spend market value on Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. That's just my preference. I'm honestly, guys, this is where I'm at with it. I am perfectly fine with the Pittsburgh Steelers throwing caution into the wind, drafting whoever they want to draft, whatever round it happens. I'm not saying first round. But if you could get one of these quarterbacks that are not going to be a first-round quarterback and get something out of them, they can be serviceable for you, and still you could still come back and draft in 2026. At this point, I'm open to that option. And here's my last statement that I want to make to you guys. We all have our own opinions. I respect yours. Hopefully you respect mine. None of us have the right answer. None of us know how any of this is going to pan out. We don't. We can sit here and say we do, but none of us have the right answer. And this is something that I mentioned earlier on X, right? I put this tweet out. Now, sidebar. Now that it's called X, can you still say tweet? Is it a tweet? What is it called now? Is it a Xer? A X's? What is it? What do you call the message on X since it's no longer called Twitter? You know, it's weird for me to even call it X, man. I still call it Twitter. I still say tweet and Twitter. But anyway, I put this message out on X today. And I said, I think fans in general are too hard on quarterbacks entering the draft. And I said, as a Steelers fan, if my team was able to get a Brock Purdy type of success, would you not appreciate that? And I went on to say that generational talents don't always land at your team. It doesn't always happen. Everybody is not a quote unquote 10-year franchise quarterback. It takes time sometimes to get these guys. Sometimes you get lightning in a bottle. But how many quarterbacks have we seen projected high that didn't pan out that way? And the reason why I said Brock Purdy is, remember, guys, Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. And Brock Purdy's 3 years as a quarterback, has he had tremendous success? Yes. Even me, I called him a systems guy. Yes, I did. But Brock Purdy has a little bit of talent too. I think it takes some talent to be a system guy. But even if we want to call him a systems guy, can you find a system guy that can run your team's system? My point being, everybody is down on most of these quarterbacks. Everybody. But you never know who you're going to get. Case in point, wasn't Brock Purdy? Hold on, I don't remember. No, I might be off a year. Brock Purdy wasn't in, or was he? Was Brock Purdy in Kenny Pickett's draft class or no? Was he the year after, or was he in the same draft class? I don't remember. Don't remember. But all I'm saying is, I hear everybody dogging all of these quarterbacks. They're dogging, Shador. And like I said, me and Kenyon both said we think Shador will eventually be a good quarterback. I just don't know if he fits Pittsburgh's style of play currently. I don't think he would be the best fit there. But the thing is, guys, same class. Yeah, I think he was in the same class. And the interesting thing is if he was in the same class as Kenny Pickett and he was the last pick, that kind of proves my point. It kind of proves my point. You just never know, man. And just speaking of what Kenyon just said, I told you guys earlier this week, and I did an independent video about it. I watched Jackson Dart, but I also watched one game of Tyler Shogg. I didn't know that's how you said his name. Shogg. Had no idea that's how you pronounced it. But I watched the Miami game today. It's funny because I actually remember watching the tail end of that game when it actually happened. I watched that fourth quarter because I remember that run by Martinez at the end when Miami was at a danger to lose, and then they ended up scoring 2 touchdowns consecutively. I remember that because I was like, man, Martinez breaking all kinds of tackles. He was determined to get in the end zone. I remember Michael Irvin being on the sideline. But at that point, I wasn't paying attention to the Louisville quarterback because, like I said, I only watched about the fourth quarter of that game when it happened. But I watched that full game today. Yeah, Cam Ward is Cam Ward. But that Tyler Shogg guy, in just that one game, woo, Kenyon was right. He got some arm talent on him now. He got some arm talent. Now, just like I did with Jackson Dart, I'm going to watch 2 more games of Tyler. Kenyon sent me those 2 games, so I'm going to be watching those games against good opponents. What I could say from that game today, from the Miami game, not necessarily a mobile guy. And again, you guys may have watched him more than that. This is all I'm getting from the one game. That's why I don't just watch a game. I watch at least 3 games so I can start to, get a sense of how a certain kid plays. Not necessarily mobile. He seems to be much more of a pocket guy, but the boy, he's accurate. He has a gun on him. Nice arm talent. I mean, he made some throws in that Miami game. I was like, whoo, some of the ones across the middle, ooh. Nice arm. So like Kenyon said a little while ago, would you grab him in like the 3rd or 4th round if he's there? Why not? Why not? This is all I'm saying, folks. We are in the worst possible predicament we could be in at quarterback. So I'm just saying that all options should be on the table. I don't think nobody should just be outright dismissing a draft pick. Why? What is the better option? I understand, well, go with Aaron Rodgers or one of them this year and then next year. But y'all know how I feel about the next year thing. Yeah, you would assume, sure, next year is a better class, but we cannot confirm or guarantee which quarterback that they would be able to draft next year. So all I'm asking you guys, man, then I'm going to come into the chat. Would it be so bad, given the situation, like put your feelings aside, given the situation that the Steelers are in, where right now they have Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and either Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, one of these guys, Minshew, whatever his name is, Trey Lance, some of those guys, or drafting somebody in the mid-rounds. Is it so bad? Like, is any of those options the bona fide right option? No. And that's why I'm saying, guys, you have to be more diligent as a fan. Do your due diligence as a fan and say, okay, all of these options are on the table. That's why I'm watching some of these quarterbacks. And for the record, I'm going to say this. I like what I saw from Jackson Dart. No, I don't know. I don't necessarily think he's a generational. I definitely don't think he's that. But I don't necessarily think he's a 10-year veteran or whatever. But like I told y'all, to me, he kind of reminds me of I kind of feel like, somebody said it in the comments after yesterday's video. Y'all remember me saying this and they agree with me. He's kind of like gives me the mindset of like a bigger Baker Mayfield-esque type of guy as far as how his game would be. I think he's capable of playing the style of play that you've seen from Baker Mayfield as a Buccaneer. I'm not talking about Cleveland. I'm talking about as a Buccaneer the last couple seasons. I think Jackson Dart is capable of producing that type of game. from what I see. I have no idea what he would be in the NFL. I'm just saying he kind of puts me in that mindset. And I'm like, man, this kid, he's a tough kid. He's skillful. So what I'm saying is I'm not going to be outright dismiss the opportunity to say, well, man, they could just go in the draft and see if they can get something from one of them. And then if not, if it's looking weak and you don't see no real areas of improvement, you can go right back in 26. Because again, like it or not, folks, this is where we are as a fan, as a fan base. And as a team, this is where we are. We have no real bona fide, legit options. We don't. So that's just my opinion, guys. Definitely want to sit here and see what you guys got. Fire away, guys, in the comments. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes, but I just wanted to announce and give us time to talk about it amongst ourselves. Mason Rudolph is back in Pittsburgh. And right now, he is in the driver's seat, per se, before any additional signings and all of that. And by the way, guys, I'm going to say it the same way I said it last night. This whole saga that's happening with Aaron Rodgers, I don't like it. I understand that I don't believe he's officially been released from the Jets yet, if that's correct. I don't think he's officially been released. So technically, he can't technically sign. But everybody knows he's going to be released. The Jets have advised him he's going to be released. I did see some new information yesterday that I didn't think about. What if the Jets decide to make him a June 1, a designated June 1 release? I'm saying this, and I'm going to tell y'all this right now. I don't want that. I don't want the Steelers to just be hanging around waiting for him, and we got to wait until June 1st. No. If it can't happen now, whether it's him not making the decision or the Jets holding out, I don't want to deal with that. I'm getting sick and tired of this, the talk every day. Aaron Rodgers, they showing us him on the beach and all that, dog. I don't want it. I don't want that drama. If he ends up on the team, cool. But as each day goes by, I don't want it. And like I said, I do not want it if we're going to have to pay him this enormous amount. The only way I would at least give some consideration to it if you get him at a reasonable rate and they all in with keeping Pickens as well alongside DK, and they going to just see what we could do in that one season. But other than that, if you got to overpay for him, if you got to sit here and keep having this back and forth negotiation, dog, let him go. Just like I share the sentiments of Deshaun Elliott, what he said about him. So there you have it. What y'all got, man? Fire away. What y'all got? Cam So Fun says the Steelers were not prepared. Not at all. Hold on, guys. I missed some Wonder Bread from earlier. My bad, man. My bad if I missed any more Wonder Bread, but CT Pittman, man, round of applause. I appreciate you, brother. Facts. He says, Sim, I don't know if I trust the Steelers scouts. Our guy Kenyon does a better job. It does seem that way, right? It definitely seems that way. At least for certain positions, the scouts are a little shaky. What y'all got? In the green says typical response because you know what makes sense. I don't know if that's to me or somebody in the chat. So if you can elaborate that. Oh, wait. It seems like some of you guys are going back and forth, or maybe it's at me. Let's read this one. Ola says, you bored, man. It's no metaphor or analogy to support your argument, bruh. It's over. You prove your ignorance. Move on. Please tell me what y'all talking about. So this is what I would like you to do, Ola. I don't know. Again, like I said, sometimes you guys be having, spats in the chat, but anything that's directed at me, I want somebody to clarify that so I can respond to it. All right. Let's see. Mr. Fleetwood says, I have no problem with Rudolph. Let him play and draft the guy next year. Spend that money on another position. This isn't rocket science. You know what? Fleetwood doesn't have a bad point either. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. Listen, they're at this point. What if they decide to just let Rudolph play? What if they decide that Rudolph is the veteran, and then they're gonna draft a late round guy? Like I said, you're not gonna get much from me as far as this is what they should do, because they're in the worst possible situation. There is no free agent at this point now where you can say that's the right move. Some people think it was Justin Fields. The Jets offered more money. The Steelers weren't willing to budge. And that's another reason. I'm going to keep it a buck. That's another reason why I would be pissed off if they overpay, in my eyes, for Aaron Rodgers. Because, again, I understand I'm not comparing Justin Fields to Aaron Rodgers. But, dog, if you're going to spend the money, I would rather let the young boy rock that's got some upside to him, got some athleticism to him, got his legs, was there last year. I would much rather have invested in that if it's a short stint anyway than a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I'm just keeping it a buck, man. The Master of Music says, I remember when people were saying Lawrence was the next big thing. The draft is Russian roulette. It is. You never know. You just never know. Hey, Russell Wilson came out of the third round. You know what I mean? In the green says the NFL is a passing league now. These quarterbacks throwing the ball more than ever. Just because their numbers are up doesn't make them great. That is a great point. That is absolutely a great point in the green. You're correct there. What else y'all got? Somebody says Minshew failed at physical, then got picked up by the Chiefs. Rajan says the guy on Steelers Depot said that they will get Winston if they don't get Rodgers. I saw that. Man, listen, and I should be and overall, I like Jameis Winston, man, just for the character that he is and what he did for my Seminoles. But nah, I'd pass on that right now too. Jameis Winston just turns the ball over too much. Steely McBeeman, what's up, man? He says, I'm thinking run it with whoever this year and use the compensatory pick drafts to trade up to get a QB next year. Yeah. Yep, Kenyon kind of mentioned that as well the other night. Judd, is it Schlesselman? Is it Schlesselman? Hopefully I said that correctly. He says, yeah, we're in a bridge period for QBs. Got the weapons now, just need the O-line addressed and got to protect them. Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. What else y'all got, man? Anything else? In the green says, people can laugh at Mason, but at the end of the day, Tomlin is the one that looks like a clown. Juggling all these quarterbacks. Yeah, it ain't. Listen, man. For anybody who wants to criticize Mike Tomlin, yeah, this is your perfect chance. Outside of anything else, the way these quarterbacks, and you know, some people are going to say it's not all Tomlin, and some of it is on the GM as well, but still, you got to put some of this on Tomlin's head, man, if not most of it. You know, it has not been good, brother. Okay, so you said they did release. Okay, they released him yesterday. Okay, thanks for that, Mark. Thanks for that, Kev. So fun. Wasn't sure if he was officially released. So that makes it even worse. Why are we sitting here waiting on this dude, man? Why? That's what's pissing me off more than anything else. Let's see. Charles Jackson says, time to move on from Rodgers talk. It is, man. It is. But unfortunately, we can't move on until the Steelers move on. You know what I mean? But I think the rest of these videos that I may or may not do will just be coming on, you know, giving y'all some quick content on the quarterbacks, Like I said, I did one, was it last night or the night before, talking about Jackson Dart. And when I get through watching more film on Tyler Shong, I will might do a little video on that as well. Let's see what else, guys. Give me a couple more and then we out of here. Steeler Car says, one thing I hope is that Arthur Smith isn't the OC when we get our rookie next year. He's, yeah, you got a good point there, man. But I think Smith is, did he sign a 3-year contract? I think he did. Why Dicky says, question is, how much do we put on Tomlin? Because the brass as a whole needs to take blame. Very true. Very true. I try to be very careful, guys. And I know some people, y'all swear I do it out of favoritism. It ain't that. If you have watched me for any amount of time, you know that I speak from a very fair perspective. Whether it seems to favor a coach or a player or whatever, that could just be the perspective I'm speaking on at that point. There is zero bias with me when it comes to coaches and players. I told y'all that. I'm not married to the coaches or the players. I am married to the team. I only date the players. I've dated Tomlin for quite a long time now, but I'm not married to them. I am married to the team. I am a Steeler fan. And I could be a fan of coach and players, but when they gone, they gone. You understand? So, yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, you got to put some of that blame definitely on the brass and the GM as well. It's not all Mike Tomlin's fault. Absolutely not. Kenya says, Andy Reid was struggling to get a franchise QB when he left Philadelphia. He gambled on Mahomes and it worked. Yeah. Because remember, not many people had Mahomes as a first-round pick. Didn't. James Webb says, I agree with your Dart video. Can't have someone who can't move back there right now. Please block. Pass block rate is horrific. Yeah, listen, man, I'm telling you. Again, I like Jackson Dart. Again, what I'm saying is I like him as a player. I'm not saying he's the answer. What I'm saying is I'm not going to be completely pissed if that were to fall back. Take a chance to see what he gives you because it doesn't pigeonhole you into anything, especially if you get him in a later round. It doesn't pigeonhole the Steelers from going and getting another quarterback later. So I'm talking about 3rd round, 4th round. If somehow they try to get themselves back into the 2nd, dog, I'm not upset with that. Let me just go on the record and say that. I am not upset if they want to grab one of those guys this year that outside of the 1st round. If they would like to do that, I'm not mad because you got to roll them dice. Now, 1st round would feel like a little bit of a stretch. But in the 2nd, which we don't have right now, but if we got one back, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I'm cool. I'm telling you, I would be cool with that. And for what I saw, Jackson Dart is a baller. I'm not going to predict what he's going to be or not going to be in the NFL. I'm not doing that no more. I just look at quarterbacks and say there's some things I like about him, and I look at quarterbacks and say there's things I don't like about him. Case in point, when I looked at Sam Howell, junior year, I liked Sam Howell. Didn't feel as good about Sam Howell in his senior year. So I realized, okay, maybe he didn't have the same level of talent, but he didn't look like the same quarterback. Remember when we were going through that whole thing and I came back and told y'all, I looked at some of his senior tape, guys. I don't feel happen to be, we was right on that one. So that's all I'm saying, man. If it's him or again, I'm going to continue to watch Shog, and I'm still laughing at that's how his name is pronounced. You know, I'm cool if they got one of these guys in the later round. Well, when I say later, I'm talking about outside of the first. So I'll give you that. Outside of the first. It's not going to piss me off because we have no choice. We have no perfect choice this year. So there you have it. But all right, guys, let me get out of here, man. I've been talking too long now. Appreciate y'all so much, so much, so much. All of the support you guys have given me over the last couple days. Listen, if you really like the video, do these things right here. First, hit the like button. Second, subscribe to the channel. And then, of course, for your own benefit, turn on the notification bell. But before I go, I'm always going to ask you wonderful people to have, first of all, a great night. Be safe. Stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in, and I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.